So, as many of you are probably aware at this point, Jagex just released a 2024 roadmap a whole 3 months into 2024. This roadmap covers the next 3 months all the way through June, meaning that after a relatively dry first 3 months, this is going to cover all of the content we're getting for the whole first half of this year. And it was, for lack of a better term, not well received. In this video, I want to talk about the announcement itself, the future I see for RS3, and some of the possible reasons for this apparent drought in current and future upcoming content for the game that we all love. Hey, so here's where a sponsor spot would go if I had sponsors, but hey, instead you can like, subscribe, follow, check out the Twitch stream, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, thanks, bye. So here is the announcement for your perusal if you'd like. As you can see beneath the art of Astelarn, a boss released 6 years ago and not recent content at all, there's less than a full page worth of notes on upcoming releases for the first half of this year. A quest which could be good and point towards, future content. They mention a few things that seem kind of interesting, but effectively just a one and done quest. Some normal bug fixes and a visual update to a mostly outdated and relatively unused area, and a summer event for a whole month. As you can probably imagine, people were not too happy to see how little content there was planned for the next few months. For reference, here is old school RuneScape's roadmap. An entry-level boss, 2 new quests, even if the already released one is backported and the other one is likely to be backported as well, a whole new area expansion, plus a part 2 for that expansion, and the return of Deadman mode. While they feast, we famine. It's clear to me that Jagex does not treat their 2 games the same, but I wanted to add a little bit of my own context and just a few of my own ideas at a few possible situations that Jagex could be in, and some reasonings why we're seeing less content than we'd imagine in RuneScape 3. As a bit of a credential for the things that I'm going to bring up, even though I won't get too technical with any of this, I've worked for 4 years in software as a software developer at 2 pretty major companies that are very well known. And I also spent a lot of time in college studying game development. That's actually what I studied in college. And I have quite a few friends that work in the games industry. And I actually reached out to 1 or 2 of them to talk to them a little bit. Most of these friends don't play RuneScape, but these are friends in the games industry that I talked with. And they corroborated a lot of the things that I thought of when I was talking about them with about, where Jagex is at right now. So let's go over a few of the different options that I've thought up, starting from, I would say, the least likely to the most likely situation that Jagex is in right now for RuneScape 3. So the most pessimistic and probably the least likely, in my opinion, option is, of course, the dreaded maintenance mode. The game is truly dead. Jagex is fully given up. We're not getting any new content, and the game is just completely over and gone and done. We're just getting bug fixes and nothing else. I think that's pretty clearly obviously not where we're going. People meme about maintenance mode and people meme about the game being dead, but it's pretty clear that they're putting a lot of time and effort into making the game at least for the next few years. I mean, we just had Necro last year in August. They've been updating Necro. They've been trying to add new things for it. We just got one of the 3 things on the roadmap is actually an area refresh, a visual update for an area. I believe it's the Fremennik area. It doesn't really make that much sense to me that they would do something like a visual update to an old area if they weren't planning on trying to get new people into the game at some point and trying to continue working on the game. That feels like something they wouldn't really do. Another possibility I've been thinking about is that we have Rune Fest planned for this year. I was originally planning on going. I don't think I'll be able to just because I don't really have the money, and also apparently tickets sold out like instantaneously. I've heard complaints from chat about it. But we have Rune Fest this year, and so it's possible that all hands are on deck right now working on some sort of big major content that's going to be announced or released around or near Rune Fest. This is definitely a possibility. I think it doesn't really make sense for them to host Rune Fest this year if one of their 2 major games, I realize old school RuneScape is more popular in a lot of ways, but it doesn't really make sense for them to have Rune Fest this year if this is supposedly such a bad year for RS3 content. So it's definitely possible that they're, not actually announcing something for whatever reason. I think it's possible. I thought about this when I was writing the script for this, but I think it's possible that Hero Pass kind of scared them out of announcing content ahead of time. With Hero Pass, they labeled it as this major content update, and then it was garbage and people didn't like it because it wasn't a major content update. So I'm thinking it's possible that there's actually some amount of that involved in this, that maybe they're hesitant to announce it for whatever reason. They want to work on things more, test it. I don't know what it is, but I think it's definitely possible that there's some sort of major update that's coming up from an announcement that's going to happen at Rune Fest. And speaking of Hero Pass, I'm going to go to what I think the most likely opinion is. Hero Pass fucking sucked. It was an absolute travesty. Everybody hated it. It was the first real thing that has crossed the line from regular microtransactions into actual pay-to-win mechanics in a certain way, things that really do significantly affect the RuneScape experience, even outside of people's issues with buying XP and that sort of stuff. And it was pretty clear to a lot of people, myself included, that Hero Pass is something that they put a lot of, that Jagex put a lot of their eggs into. It's a basket they had a lot of eggs in. So I think Hero Pass failing so catastrophically may have screwed them up. It may have caused them to really rethink a lot of what they were working on. Because another thing to think about is that we haven't had a Yak track in a while. People weren't huge fans of Yak tracks, but Yak tracks were not Hero Pass. People did not get, incensed at Yak tracks for existing. And we haven't had one in a while. So my thought is that due to influence, most likely from higher ups, higher level managers, PMs, and possibly even whoever owns Jagex right now, I actually don't even remember who it is. I think there's pressure from higher up to make Jagex make more money, and the problem is that Jagex can only really do that from RS3 because Old School has really entrenched themselves in this position where it's very, very difficult, for good reason, and I don't think this is a bad thing for Old School, it just ends up being bad for us, but Old School is in this position where they really just cannot add basically microtransactions of any kind. And that's good for Old School. I mean, it's great for them, but it just kind of sucks because then it means if Jagex needs to make more money, we're on the chopping block and we get screwed over. I think the big thing that is probably happening is that whoever owns Jagex right now or higher level people at Jagex are almost certainly pushing RS3 to try and make more money per player, because seems to be something that they've been pushing for a lot. They're trying to probably push for a lot more people to purchase microtransactions, because one of the things that I've thought about a little bit in comparison, RuneScape 3 in comparison to other games that do microtransactions, particularly since I've started working on developing my own sort of game that would probably have microtransactions. It's a mobile game. RuneScape 3 does not necessarily suit itself to whales as strongly as other games because we've protected the proper core of the game, the gameplay core of the game, even if XP is sort of gone. Because pay to win doesn't exist in the same way in RuneScape, it's harder to target the whales in the same way that you would target them for a traditional mobile game. So my thought is that Jagex is trying to increase the amount of money they make per player in RS3, and they might be thinking about trying to do some sort of thing. They're trying to finagle their way into a Yak Track pass or some other battle pass, since battle passes seem to be so popular nowadays. The thing that I always get kind of hung up on with RS3 is that we clearly have JMods that are either they almost all care about the game and they're either competent, capable of learning, or both. We've had a ton of great content that's been added to the game. Obviously, there have been some stumbles. Things like Vorkath is not great, but I was talking about this with my Twitch chat and realizing a lot of the most recent bosses added to the game, all of Elder God War's dungeon, fantastic. Croesus is amazing. Archglacior, fantastic. Zuck, annoying, but also fantastic. Like, Karapak, fantastic. Time Warp is a super cool mechanic. There's all of these cool things that we've added to the game in the past couple of years that are awesome. And it's clear that the developers not only have good ideas for the game, but they know how to make them, and they're able to make them when they're given the time to. But it just seems like so much of what we should be getting as just normal updates and normal content to the game is being relegated to game jams. That's one thing that's always been really weird to me, is how is it that things like the graphical update that we're getting this month to Releka, I believe it is, the Fremennik area, how is that a game jam? Like, how I've looked at some of these game jam projects, and a good number of them are cool and interesting, but how is it that the developers are like forced to update basic functions of the game as a game jam that they're doing effectively on their own separate time? What are they doing with all their time? Like, is RS3 such extreme spaghetti code that actual major content really does take absolute months and months and months of time to work on? And if it's not, then like, what are they doing all day? It's not that, and this isn't aimed at like, denigrating the Jagex JMods, because they're clearly good at what they're doing and they're good at work. I'm just wondering, like, what is it that's preventing them from doing more of the work that makes the game good? Is it, shitty code? Is it, or shitty code as in like a shitty backend, like the sort of spaghetti code issues that I have personally experienced at a few companies. Is it that sort of thing? Is it management just making really shitty decisions? What amazes me is the fact that, like, as a developer at a company, there's no way you can really ever spend that much time working on absolutely nothing or working on close to nothing. And outside of game jams, it's hard for us to really see that much of what the developers are working on. We don't know how many developers there are. I didn't do any research. I didn't really like look into how many people work for Jagex, but there's clearly at least some competent developers that I feel like should be, working on stuff. So I'm just curious about what they're working on, if it isn't content that we're getting anytime soon, I guess. I mean, most of the recent major content releases we've seen have been announced quite a while ahead. I mean, things like Archaeology release, Necro release, Major Bosses, Elder God Wars Dungeon. I've even made a video on this channel about Elder God Wars Dungeon because we knew it was coming a while before. I would actually love to hear what some of the JMods think about what things are like working at Jagex, but that's probably unlikely because NDAs and there's all sorts of weird issues about that, especially at a gaming company where there's just a lot of weird issues around that. It'd be great to have a JMod reach out. If any JMods happen to see this and want to reach out, feel free. But until we get any more announcements or new content releases, we're just kind of probably have to keep sitting here grinding RuneScape or playing other stuff. Let me know in the comments if you're playing other stuff. I mostly just play RuneScape all day. I stream 4-ish hours almost every single day of the week. So if you've got something interesting that you've been playing recently that I should check out, let me know in the comments. Also, let me know in the comments if you have any idea what Jagex might be working on. Might as well spitball some random ideas in the chat. Why not? All right, but that is about it for this random rant video that I'm filming at 1 a.m. The night before I'm supposed to take a flight to fly to a friend's wedding. So be sure to check out my socials, link down below. I'm live on Twitch almost every day from 1 to 5 p.m. As I mentioned just a bit ago. Subscribe, like the YouTube video if you liked it, all that good stuff. Yeah, I'm not sure how long this will take to edit because I'm about to leave for San Jose for 5 days. But assuming this goes up within the next couple days, if I edit it on my computer, thanks for watching. See ya.